Now, most of the stuff I review on my channel comes in cute little boxes like this, but today, oh man, I think I'm going to need a bigger desk. But since it's freezing cold in the garage, let's just show you real quick. So this came to me from xTool. They reached out and they offered to send me this whole setup. This is the D1 Pro. So this is a laser cutting and laser engraving setup, and it has a rotary kit, which I could chuck a pen into and do some cool stuff with pens. So you think I'm going to say no to that? My whole engineering career has been around lasers. So I told them right out of the gate, you picked the right guy to send a laser toy to. So anyways, thank you guys. Oh my gosh, this is going to be wicked. So obviously this looks like Manuel. We're going to put the thing together, probably some promo stuff, talk about what it can do. There's all like it's red. The new toy is this gorgeous red. I mean, with a little bit of, brass, some gold kind of highlights. So gold and red. Merry Christmas, everybody. And what do we have here? I believe that is a 20-watt laser head. So what? Yeah, don't shine at your eyes. That's so cool. And we got here, I think it's some Rice Krispies. This, I think, is the whole rotary setup. So, yeah, what is this thing? Okay, so anyways, it's a laser setup, CNC, and you got an XY stage. You put stuff underneath it. This laser is going to shoot at it, and it can either like engrave something. You see plaques with names or just beautiful motivational slogans, or you can cut it out. So you can cut some bits with it and cut right through wood and some other material, or look at a little attachment. So this is a rotary table. We got a few different modes. There's a chuck. There's, this is going to, that's going to be your tailstock essentially kind of thing. You can adjustable there. And then we got some rollers. So you can do it that way too. So, yeah, this would be perfect for fountain pen stuff. I am going to be shooting fountain pens with lasers and see if I can get some cool designs on it. But, okay, I gotta bring this out to the garage. This is not the working space for this. I'm gonna start putting this thing together and see what's up. But this is the other thing I gotta deal with. So I got a nice beauty little fold-up table there. Right, the legs are on hinges, welded all together. It's so slick. It's just a beauty. I gotta fold it down, and all this stuff's in the way. So I gotta clean this out of here first before I can get the assembly going. Just move that out of the way, and here we go. So I got this cleaned up pretty good, not too bad. We're gonna go through all this stuff. Quick thing, safety. Honestly, it is the first thing, the most important thing in this whole kit. Now, this is a really cool kit, but it's these laser goggles. Okay, so quick background, I used to make precision laser measurement equipment. So having this motion system with a stepper motor and pulleys and limit switches and a moving laser carriage, that's what I did, okay? And my main project, my baby, was literally a baby head scanner. So there'd be 4 lasers, 8 cameras, motion systems, gearboxes, all that stuff. And you would literally have a curtain of light go over top of a baby's eyes. So I kind of had to do a few things when it comes to laser safety, okay? We got a 20-watt laser on here. Oh my God. Wear these. Never operate this piece of gear with the laser on and not wearing these. I'm just telling you right now, these are super important. Let's check out some bits. We got socket head cap screws on here, which is really nice. These are some little, they're called optos, optical limit switches. So it's cool. There's a little infrared beam here that goes across, and there's a tab. So we got this carriage that's going to slide along. Boom. Now it knows its position. Okay. And we got one on the other side there as well. So this is very similar to what's on your garage door. The door comes down. If you trip it, it's going to shoot the door back up. So kind of like that. Okay, now we got some bearings on these guide shafts. So that's going to be critical. This is an extruded piece. So we're going to have pretty good accuracy. Got those guide shafts. Those have to be nice and true. There's a belt here. So there's a belt tensioning system. So we got a little pulley down here. The stepper motor's down there. This whole system is going to be fine-tuned to the belt tension. So there will be, this one's slack. We got to put this together. Belt tension on this will be super critical because you can control these motors. It'll be firmware and all the stuff that drives these. And the electrical engineer, the programmer, the dude, is going to be fine-tuning some of the stuff in here based on having a belt tension that should be in the ballpark of where it's at. There'll be some learning and compensation that goes on, but you can only be so good. You got to get in the ballpark. So this is the adjustment screw. So it's slotted. This is a super critical piece of this equipment, making sure that's done right. Now, here's a super helpful tip no one will ever tell you, okay? So a good way to know if your tension's good, let's line this thing up. Let's say this edge to this limit switch. Now, this should be factory tuned. I'm going to read the instructions and find out. But this little belt will make a sound, right? If you play the bass. Okay, it's pretty consistent sound. Now, the one I have to tension, there'll be a guideline on how to do it, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to download an app, I'm going to record the frequency of this belt, okay? And then when I tension this one, I'll tune it to the same frequency, so that way we have the same belt tension. Oh. At some point, I'll take the instructions out, but I gotta look at this thing. So, looks like we got Wi-Fi here. We got a little antenna going in there. I imagine that's what that will be for. The first thing I thought of is now we got a frame. We got 4 points in contact with the table. That's not cool. You need a 3-point system, or at least have the 4 points be adjustable. So check this out. You know, there's always fundamental problems, and you got to have easy solutions. What they went with, they got just some nice little bouncy feet, and it's got a nice. It's soft enough, but not too soft. That'll absorb some vibration. But what that's also going to do is, because everything's not going to be perfectly square, that'll help so the thing won't be rocking in that. We'll try to adjust it so it's as best we can get it, but you're always going to be off, so you have to compensate for that. They got nice, soft, squishy feet. So the documentation's looking really good. They got this little guide here to give you all sorts of, ideas, things you can come up with and do. If you can't, if you're not the most creative, I got a lot of ideas. But yeah, what is that? That looks like a fountain pen. I'm going to be blasting pens with this thing. Oh man, just look how good of a job they do in this. So anyway, there's also links down there in the description. I know there's a big sale on right now for Christmas season, so save yourself some money if this is something that's been on your mind. Anyway, so I'm going to go through it. So, and that's what I'm not going to do the whole build and show you me installing every screw, but I'll cut to little important bits, critical parts when you're putting a piece of gear like this together, because this thing moves fast. I think it's like 400 millimeters per second or something crazy like that. And we got lasers, you're sending signals. So these are precision laser systems. We got motion, we got 2 axes as well. There's even going to be a rotary. So there are some critical parts of this build, and I'm going to cut to those and just show you what to watch out for, what to check as I come to them. So again, they're doing it right. They got all the gears, all the bits and bobs in here for you, and this is something that's super critical. Okay, so flathead screws especially. You got to have some way to make sure your screws don't come loose, so they got the Loctite on there as well. On places where there's no Loctite over here, let's say for example, they got a nut, but it's a nylock, so that's positive locking method. So the rule is always there's got to be some type of way to make sure that fastener doesn't move. It can be like a Loctite, a special type of locking nut. You can have special washers. You can have lock wire. There's all sorts of things you got to do, but there's got to be something, and they're doing everything right so far. I guess I did speak a little bit too soon. The little guys here, they don't have any Loctite on them, but I mean, this isn't going to really experience much load. But if I was back in the shop back in the day, a little dab of Loctite 222 MS would be the ticket. One little thing when you're fitting the coupling on this is a split coupling, okay? So we got the stepper motor and the shaft. You just center this slit where this gap is. So when you put it on there, just, do your best to look through. You can see, you can sight it in there, get it in position, then you snug them down. A quick little tip, this is actually a pretty critical spot in the assembly, is doing the final snugging on this coupling. So what you do, if you follow the instructions, bring these down to the front, align them to the front of the frame. Okay, great, now you go ahead, tighten the coupling. But what's going to be happening is you have to install that cross stage, and that cross stage assembles here and here. So these have to be aligned, they can't be off. So we got to check it before we do this. Trying to do this on cam, it can be tricky. But you get yourself some calipers if you have them. If you don't, you should buy one, and they're just handy to have around. So we're going to do a measurement. I'm going from the back side. A lot of you guys, you always measure between the two. You go off the back. So you're going to go from this face to the top face there. So nice and flat, put it on there, and let's touch that surface. We got, let's call it 56 millimeters. We come over here, and what do we got? Let's do the same measurement. Put it in, and we got 54. So we're out by 2 millimeters. So what you're going to do now is you make sure the shafts aren't, coupled. We're going to move this up 2 millimeters, so it's 56. Adjust it, make sure it's good. You got the same number, and then you tighten up that coupling. So Manuel's telling us that we're 80% done. We're almost there. One critical thing on a device like this is cable management. So the stage is going to be moving back and forth, okay? And we got this cable that's going to be moving as well. So we got to watch out for pinch points. So right now, depending on how you route things, you can see here, if I can get a little flash on, it can come in. That's not good. That's a pinch point. So I've been playing around with routing the cables. They provide some zap straps and some holes to mount it to. That's all fine. Sometimes it just has to deal with how the cable, during shipping and stuff, it's going to have sometimes a different kink away it's going to want to go. So what I'm going to do is just put something on the outside. I'll get a little block of wood or something like that. And I just want the cable to stop from shooting out, because if it shoots out, this is going to curl and get stuck in here. So if I do it this way, I'm going to be playing around. I've been playing around a little bit, but I'll have some type of little deflector here. And that way, when it comes all the way back, it's not going to pinch in there. So we're just about to throw the laser head on, and the tip I got is actually has to do with the bag it comes in. So this is a special anti-static bag. You know, when you take the wrapper off a candy, it kind of sticks to your hand, it sticks all over the place because there's static electricity. This is to help against that, you know, because you got critical components in here, electronics in here. So keep the bag, don't throw it out. If you ever have to take the head off, and you know, just put it in the bag. That way you're going to keep it safe from any electrostatic discharge. So a super important thing with the laser is making sure it's focused, but they do this so easy for you. You have this little gauge here on the side that you can adjust with this little thumb screw. That has to do with more like cutting through your material, how thick it is, so you can adjust that. But once you have that set, you just flip this down. There's a little arm here. There we go. Pop that down. You'll touch this off on your material, and how you do that is on the other side. They got this little thumb screw, so it's spring-loaded, which is nice to adjust it. But once you get it there, it's really just like a quarter turn up and down, and it's on this nice little slide mechanism. So you just loosen that, slide it down, use this to touch off on your material, snug it up, pop that out of the way, and now your laser's focused. And should you find the material you're using is just too thick for the amount of travel you have on the slide there, they got these included. These are a bunch of standoffs. There's 8 of them in total, so you can double them up. But yeah, you just put these on, screw them on to the feet there into each corner, and now you can do some thicker stuff. So they've thought of everything with this. Pretty sweet setup. Okay, so we're all put together. Honestly, just follow the manual. They got you covered. If you want a detailed video of putting every piece in, just hunt around on YouTube. There's several of those there. I figure there's no point in me doing something that already exists. Like I said, I'll just show you the tips, but everything is in there. Just follow along. Even if you're not super mechanically inclined, just take your time. Like, just don't rush it. This thing's pretty cool. So if you got to reference other stuff, no problem. Once you're all together, they even tell you just how to go ahead and install the driver's software. Everything you need is in here. And so I got the software on here again. There's other tutorials. We're just going to start basic, do like a basic print, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so with the first super crude test, I'm going to do the Doodlebud logo just on a piece of cardboard that was in the box. So you're just going to set this on the target here. Okay, so I know I'm on there. I looked in there, and the piece will be big enough for what I got. But we're going to do some framing. So what you do is you find out if your piece is big enough. Okay, I ask you to push the button. Now look at this detail. You could just have a little plastic button. That is a machined brass button. Like, they really care about their stuff. So let's push that. It's going to frame it to show you how big it is. Oh, just enough. And we're going to hit go. Now the cool thing is, mine, you can see this hose that's on here. So this goes along and goes to a little air assist pump. Because what's happening is you're going to be hitting this stuff, ablating material, especially something like paper, but anything, and it's going to be stuck inside of there, right? So what you got is you got a little air pump, shoots a little airstream just to help clear it up, clear up your print that you're going to do, and also keep some goo off the laser. So anyways, framing's complete. Going to hit the start button up here, and I'll set up the camera to do the fancy little time lapse. Let's let it process. Okay, it's ready to go. Now I wanted to do that test with the logo because this pen case I did a review on, I think it would look beautiful with my Doodlebud logo on there. Good test piece, but I don't want to mess that up. So we're going to do some testing first. So let's come along. And there it goes. So I'm going to put the air pump on. It's going to get a little bit noisy now. Where is that switch? So you can see some stuff going on there, but I'm going to set up the tripod so we can capture this. So while this is a time lapse, I thought I would just say a quick thanks to everybody who has been watching my channel engaging with me in the comments, hitting subscribe, all that stuff, helping the channel grow from a random midnight thought about 2 years ago during lockdown to now, having the channel grow. I'm getting pens sent to me to review. I'm doing engineering analysis on pens, and now I have a laser engraver being sent to me. Oddly enough, this channel has let me reconnect with engineering, and it's been so much fun. Well, I think that's looking not too bad for first try, just out of the box. Well, I've got some settings, a little bit of an extra there, but yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing right now. So that's pretty cool. So that is just taking in my logo as a picture. Now there's different file formats. I'll show you something I'm going to do for my daughter and show you just how quick this thing can go. What I got now, I want to do this for the kids. I'll end up doing it through Wood and Cut It. We'll put it on the tree. But she's a big Mickey Mouse fan, so I downloaded a Mickey Mouse ornament. Got it set up to go. Now this will be a different format. This is what's called a DXF file. So this is a better type of file format, especially for speed. Let me set it up. You'll see how quick this goes. Okay, so I couldn't help myself. I've engraved two things. Got the pen case in here. I figured let's just do this. So I got my logo in. You got to figure out how big the dimensions are. So I figure 50 millimeters wide will be good enough. I Googled some settings really quick. And so I'm going to go 100 millimeters per second at 25% power for this thing. I'm going to frame it to make sure it looks good. Actually, let me show you something. Okay, so in these settings, you can set your origin. So I kind of like the bottom. So I picked the bottom point because on here I want it to be just off from the bottom a little bit. So I sort of picked a point where I want it to be as my bottom of the logo. Now I can go on here, frame it, and then I'll hit the go button. Okay, let's check out the result here. Oh wow, not too bad. It's a dark blue case. This is just a little bit of smoke that comes off of there. So I'm going to wipe this off a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with that for a first try. Check this out. Just for contrast, the wife, she's so nice, got me this nice little leather carry bag for my birthday, which was just recently. You can customize it, but can you see? Let's get in there. And there we go. So you got the Doodlebud logo. You pay a little extra, they do this. But, it's not that great of a job. Here I am. I did 2 pieces so far. That's all I got to practice. And look how much better that is. So 1, dude, you got to up your game. And 2, that goes to show you just how good this setup is. That plug it in, mess around for 20 minutes, and all of a sudden you produce some pretty high caliber work. Now I was curious how this looked just on raw leather that's not dyed. And I got to tell you, I kind of wish I got the case in raw leather had I known this, but yeah, that looks pretty good. You just get greater contrast, but yeah, the detail on this is absolutely phenomenal. That looks so good. All I can tell you is I am beyond impressed with this setup that xTool sent me. big thank you to sending me. I was very weirded out why a pen review channel, someone's like, let's send him an xTool. So my guess, there's someone on the staff there, an engineer who's a bit of a fountain pen enthusiast, came across my channel and said, let's see what this guy can do. So this is wicked. They even supply you with some test materials, right? So you can do like some little business cards. They got some acrylic in there. They got some wood. That's the Christmas ornaments I'm going to make. They got a sheet of this here. I think this is some aluminum as well. So they even give you test materials. I went down to Homey Depot there, went to the offcut section. That big saw, you can buzz sheets of plywood. So I go, I want to see how this thing works. So I got this nice sheet here for $2. I'm going to make a little mini bed for my daughter's favorite stuffy. She's been dying for something like that. So I'm going to lay that out, cut that up. But I haven't even touched the rotary setup here. But what I'm going to do this in a separate video. This is going to take a little time for me to play with, but I got a fountain pen here. This is the Namisu Horizon. It's a very nice pen. It performs well. I originally had an issue when I first got the pen. Something was leaking, but I fixed that. It seals everything, but it's just kind of a little bit boring for me. I think that's maybe the reason I haven't used it. It's just a little too plain Jane. So I'm going to be setting it down in here. We got these rollers, so it can rotate the pen. And what I'm going to and I laser engrave a pattern into this to make the pen look a little more fancy. So that's going to be in video number 2. I'm going to start playing with this rotary setup. Maybe I can even engrave some nibs. You know, this is going to be super cool playing with this. I got some other ideas of, you know, things I can do like pen storage, all sorts of other really, really cool stuff I can do with this beyond that. And that's what this tool is kind of set up for. This isn't, you know, industrial grade. You could have a little side hustle with this, make a few extra bucks and, you know, sell some wares. If you're in a catering business, you can make little name tags for all this stuff. You know, some plaques. You can do, you know, well, not that plastic one, but you can do, you know, your travel mugs, your cups, all that sort of stuff, whatever you want to do. Lighters, flasks, engraving, anything you want to do. Check out the xTool site. They got all sorts of ideas. There's a big sale on right now. There's links below, some up to 50% off on some stuff and like 20, 25 on other things. This thing's on sale up until December 26th midnight. So, you know, anyone who's watching, if you're thinking of something like this, go on there. They even have an option you can pay monthly, you know, and chip away at the price tag a little bit because this is, you know, it's expensive gear. Of course, I'm super excited. They sent it to me for free. So, of course, I'm going to be jacked. But this is going to be a ton of fun, especially this rotary setup. First thing I thought of, I even have an idea that I don't even know if it's possible. I haven't heard of anyone do, but Doodlebud wants to get it done. So we'll leave it there for now. Hope you enjoyed this. Let's chat below in the comments. Got a bunch of other videos coming up, and I am dying to see what I can do with this rotary setup. We will catch you next time.